For those of you who may not know me, I'm Blaine Comeaux. I'm on the board of directors with IEDD, and I was in the realm of direction drilling, MWD, LWD, multilaterals, underbalance drilling, coil tubing drilling, everything for Sperry for about 35 years. And for the last 5 years, I've been an independent consultant. And I am not a training guru. So let me just preface that. Jim asked each of us to kind of take one of these topics. And this is near and dear to my heart, but I'm not going to claim to be, have studied the training of humans for years, but I'll just jump into it.
Click on the screen and then click for show.
Yeah, you got to get onto the PowerPoint. Yeah, so I figured that out.
Okay, so here's a famous quote. Thank you.
Yeah.
You never rise to the level of your expectation. You fall to the level of your training. Now, this term has been, or this quote has been used lately, and a lot of people have attributed it to some Navy SEAL, but actually goes way further back than that. You fall to the level of your training. No matter how great you hope you might be in a given situation, and this is particularly true for SEALs, right? But even in our world, we're going to fall to, we're going to give it what we know, and that's going to limit how well we perform in any given situation, the level of our training. So changes are coming. We've been hearing a lot of that so far today, and guess what? Changes are always coming, right? They just are coming a lot faster now, but still, we can't be idle. We can't sit still. We can't be stagnant. There's no such thing as being stagnant. We have to continue to evolve. So how have we done training in the past? Well, we've had traditional classrooms. We've used books and workbooks and paper, and if we had to get our hands dirty, we'd have laboratories or workshops where we'd actually roll up our sleeves and actually put the pieces together and learn the process for working with an MWD tool or how to assemble a mud motor. We're still doing all those things. Now we've adopted some newer techniques of virtual classrooms, and we're doing online things and having interactive exercises. We can do simulations now where we actually have sensory input, where we've got the chair and we can actually feel what's happening as we're doing things. But really, so we are adopting these new techniques. We are adapting. So here's another thing that's happening. I mean, we're hearing these words every single day, right? Digital transformation, big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Well, guess what? That's the new normal. That's the way things are now, and it's going to continue to be this way, and it's just going to continue to increase. So all of us have just one question on our minds. Will I have a job? Now, we're hearing the downturn in the oil industry, but if you go outside of our industry and look at this digital transformation, there are people who are talking in that realm that's saying that whole thing is going to get rid of 50% of the jobs, period. Not oil field jobs, across the board. The jobs that are being done today will not exist as this digital transformation continues to take place. So it's not just us that are going to be looking around and see, are we going to have a job? On LinkedIn, the number of times that the term data scientist showed up in the years from 2014 to 2018, the frequency increased 500% in those 5 years. And machine learning, the number of times that job description or role or that phrase showed up increased 1,200% in that same time frame. So, are you a data scientist?
I am now.
Yeah, exactly. Because it seems like that's all anyone wants to hear about on LinkedIn. They're looking for data scientists. Well, so that means we have two choices. We evolve or we become extinct. That's the hard reality of it. And a lot of us are going to have to reinvent ourselves, right? We're going to have to learn new things. We're going to have to master new things. So how do you do that? Well, training. Educate yourself. Take classes online. You know, since I've been getting prepared for this and I've been searching online for some of these terms, and it's funny. My Facebook has been listening. And now I'm getting feeds on my Facebook feed for, hey, take this Python class for free. Hey, you want to learn how to do data analytics? Hey, you know, and it's just ad after ad after ad for all this digital transformation stuff. So it's out there. We just have to embrace it. So I want to give you a little bit of encouragement, though. You're not alone. Look at this. A recent survey of IT decision makers. Now, these are guys who are in the position to make the decision on which product they're going to buy for their whole company, right? And they're being marketed by, and in this case, it's cybersecurity products, right? In this case, they admitted that although the products that they were using for cybersecurity claim to use artificial intelligence or machine learning, 7 out of 10 of them aren't sure what that means. Okay, so it's not just us, it's not just our industry. Everyone's
afraid to admit it.
Huh?
The other 3 out of 10 are afraid to admit it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it's new, and okay, get over that and embrace it, right? Nearly 3 out of 5 admit that they are somewhat to very uncertain what specific capabilities they are getting out of this artificial intelligence or machine learning that's being pitched at them. So you know what this tells me? These guys are putting on the hard sell, right? They're using all the buzzwords. They're making themselves look like they're on the cutting edge of this technology as they go to sell this stuff to their customers. I mean, we can see this in our own industry. I mean, I'm seeing advertisements by companies that are saying, we have a digital twin for our product, and we're using, you know, big data to analyze our reliability information. Great, yeah, we all need to be doing that, you know, but it's got to be real. And that's the thing. All of this stuff has to deliver value. And us as individuals have to continue to find new ways of delivering value in our roles as employees or as owners of our own businesses. We have to continue to find ways of delivering more value. So we've got the traditional classroom on the side, you know, real kind of stuffy, cold corporate office training room kind of thing, right? With the PowerPoint slides in the background and the flip chart behind him. The guy's even wearing a tie. I mean, and look at all the paper. Look at all the paper. So now we're going to what we have here of, you know, Zoom meetings and having multiple people available all over the world, really. I mean, the world's getting a lot smaller as a result of this, right? So that is a positive thing. But really, I mean, this happens so fast, you know? In just a matter of months, everybody knows how to use Zoom, right? I mean, my wife knows how to use Zoom. You know, friends, family members, everyone has gotten on board with this. So it's really been pretty amazing how fast it's happened, but it has happened, and there's no going back, right? We are now in this new era. And it was the industrial age, then the computer age, the digital age. Now we're in the virtual age, right? However, there's still a place for a classroom. There's still a place for a traditional method of teaching, right? So yeah, we can embrace these new tools and we'll make use of them. It doesn't mean all the old stuff is going away. You know, simulators are becoming more and more important. And here we see the driller's chair where he's got a visual of what it looks like on the rig. And it's a pretty elaborate setup to be able to do that kind of training. And that may be necessary for drillers who are going to be drilling on that kind of rig, but directional drillers don't necessarily have to be trained in that kind of way. And what you see on the other side here is just a fairly elaborate gaming setup, basically, that can do all the same things that are necessary for how a directional driller needs to be trained, or an NWD guy, right? Or a data scientist for that matter, visualization. You know, NVIDIA, everyone know who NVIDIA is? Big company in the graphics computation world, right? So you think Intel for computer chips, NVIDIA for graphics chips. Not only that, but they're very, very involved in artificial intelligence, in self-driving cars, all of the really super high-end gaming computers probably have an NVIDIA chip in them. And what they've just recently done is they have what's called G Now. Their card, their branding was G Force, GE Force. So now they have G Now. What G Now is, it's a network of computers in the cloud that are made to do amazing graphical computations, right? High-end gaming systems that are all networked. So you don't even have to own the equipment anymore. You can get online and play the most sophisticated game out there, and they do all the number crunching for you remotely, right? And that's just a way of showing, you know, how we're just changing where the equipment's located. We're changing maybe who owns the equipment. We're paying for services instead of actually buying the hardware and owning it ourselves. Those are just all facets of this transformation, and you know, it's all good. We're going to be more efficient and have access to even more powerful tools for visualizations. And visualization is so critical for training. It's so much easier for you to sit there and look at my slide when there's pictures on there than it is when there's text. And it'd be even better if I had a movie. So it's just ways of enhancing our experience. And that's just to point out that it doesn't have to be a sophisticated, high-end piece of equipment like that to get this job done. So everyone recognize this scene from The Matrix? The training dojo, right? Just totally immersive experience. I mean, Neo thought he was literally in there with the gi on and training, right? Could we get our training environment to be that realistic? How would that look for us? Well, maybe the directional driller is actually feeling what the drill bit is engaging with in real time. There's some sort of sensory input where he is immersed in that drilling environment. And I'm just making this stuff up, right? But there are ways of imagining how to apply all of these cool things. And by the way, these cool things have come down in price dramatically. We have access to amazing technology, and it's open source. You know, it's amazing what we have access to. So you know what I say? Bring it on. Bring it on. Let's go, man. This is going to get exciting, and there's lots of opportunities here to move in a different direction. Now, it may very well still look like a training room with some fairly complicated equipment, and that's okay. Like I said, let's take advantage of these things, especially as they get cheaper and cheaper to do this. Of course, let's take advantage of it. But we don't actually have to have the physical equipment. We can, you know, experience this training. And I think what happened for this guy right here was, oh man,
Twisted off.
Twisted off.
What do you mean by that? How exactly did he twist off?
And no harm was done to any of the drill pipe on location, right? He just sensed it, right? So anyway, so where, when, how is all this going to look? Well, I mean, whenever you want to do it, late at night, after the kids go to bed, you know, from Starbucks, you know, with a headset on, it's so much of it is online and recorded that it's available to use whenever you want. And we have to continue to add to the resources that we have, and IADD wants to continue to do that as well, is create more and more resources. Where? Your bedroom, your home office, your porch, and how? Well, all this new technology could be utilized. We don't, we can still do it the old way, but there's just a lot of more engaging ways to use this technology to take training to a whole nother level. So what hasn't changed? You still must have mastery of the subject matter. You still have to have that information to relay to the next person or to the next 15 people in the class, right? That hasn't changed. And you know what? All the data scientists in the world, they aren't worth a flip if they don't know the difference between a scribe line and a hard line, right? You have to know this subject, right? So, what does that mean for us? Seek to master a subject. Find something that you're incredibly passionate about and pour your energy into learning as much about that as you can. Look for others to glean more knowledge and understanding from. Always seek to be teaching someone else, because if any of you all have been in the role of teacher, you know you learn so much more about that subject than any of your students do, because you are on the spot, man. You have got to come through. You've got to have all of it at your fingertips. So it just grows your own personal knowledge. And with all the automation, somebody's got to teach the machines. So we have to have the very finest subject matter expertise embedded into these systems if they are wanting to prove valuable and perform on a consistent basis. And I know that idea sounds like, well, yeah, but what do you do with the subject matter expert when he sucked his brain dry, right? That's kind of where we take this. But there's always new things to learn.
If he's still learning, he stays ahead of the curve.
Yeah. And just the process of having to pour everything he knows, and not just he, she, they, the collective wisdom. So again, this just pointing out, there's all sorts of new technologies, and we just need to exploit them. This is a augmented reality where the computer vision, the camera of the machine, of the iPad is being used, and it recognizes this piece of equipment when you point to it. And it's automatically showing you what pieces are important to consider, what to touch, what not to touch, what to do. If we can incorporate that in mud motor training, how mud motors are put together, or how MWD tools are put together, or any sort of process. And then once we've enhanced the training process, well, now that becomes a tool in the everyday process that we're doing to make sure that that process is done exactly the same way by every single person doing it, with a step-by-step check that can be audited after the fact, so that then you can go to your customers and say, hey, we follow the procedure to the letter. This thing was working fine when we shipped it out to location. Many of these companies are complaining about the service companies saying, oh yeah, well, they say they've got processes for everything, but they don't follow their own processes. Right? So this is a way of using the technology to enhance the way we are performing our day-to-day jobs. So train with it, but then also have the ability to use it after you've invested the resources to get to that point. So another example, sort of a heads-up display where you can actually see an image visually superimposed on what you're actually looking at, and can have like an X-ray vision or something. Of course, I think all of us would rather that this technology actually kind of be a little bit cooler looking, right? And how many of y'all remember Tony Stark's glasses? You remember what they were called? Anybody? Edith. You know what Edith stood for? Even dead, I'm the hero. Classic Tony Stark, right? But, Iron Man is a good analogy, and I keep coming back to that. We have tools, techniques, equipment, new capabilities, more data. We just have to get smarter and smarter at how we're using it and how we're incorporating it into how we can do better as humans. It's augmentation. It's not elimination. We need to enhance the way that humans perform by taking advantage of all this stuff. Just want to point out right here,
One last target.
this is a target acquisition. I mean, that's what we're all after, right? Target acquisition. So we learned today by reading, by classroom training, by watching other people, watching videos, by doing, right? And that's not going to change. We're adding some of these new things and continuing to improve on that experience. But a lot of the basics are still going to be there. We're just using new ways and methods of conveying it. So In conclusion, you must continue to increase the value that you bring to your organization. You have to invest in yourself, right? And as a person, maybe you're in a role of having to guide the process of training for your own company. You need to continue to invest in how best to do that training. Digital transformation is just the new normal, so let's engage with it. Let's just get over it, and you can be the driver behind this whole thing, this digital transformation. Champion the idea. Learn new things about what this means. Look at how you could apply some of these things that you see going on in the auto industry or in the manufacturing industry, and create new ways of applying those fundamental ideas to the specifics of your job or your product. And you can become an expert in almost any subject. I'm not saying all of us are going to go out and become neurosurgeons, right? But we all have a basic understanding of this industry. We just need to continue to enhance our level of expertise. Okay, that's it.
Drilling.
Let's get drilling.